Having more hives does not necessarily mean more honey and in turn more money. It's raining. Something that I see a lot from first year beekeepers is that they get the first hive, learn the basics if they can, and then they suddenly decide, oh wow, I'm going to sell this honey that I've got an excess of. Because usually get a few kilograms of honey that they don't need. So they sell it on and they find out that they can sell each jar of this honey for about £7–8. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I've made £100. And then they think, if one hive can make me £100, 100 hives can make me £10,000. But this isn't the case. This is the start of something I like to call bee fever. It's a well-documented thing amongst beekeepers who've been doing it for quite a while now. A newbie starts, they get really into it, they buy all the equipment under the sun, spending thousands and thousands of pounds. Then the second year, they build up and build up and build up, have loads and loads of colonies. It gets beyond them. They don't make any honey out of it because the bees have always swarmed, or they've all got disease, or just something's gone wrong in that year. And then it puts them right off, and then they sell all their equipment by year 3. Now that's bee fever. I'll go into bee fever another time, and I'll go into it in more detail and how to stop it from happening to you. And I know this because I was on the cusp. I was so close to hitting bee fever, but then my wife knocked me out of it. So I'm eternally grateful to her for that. But the question is, if you fill a single apiary with 100 hives, why does it not make sense that if one hive makes 15 kilograms of honey, why does 100 hives not make the same in abundance? And the answer to that is forage. Bees need food. They're living creatures. They require food and they require somewhere safe to live. As do all the other creatures living in a specific area. All pollinators need food and they need somewhere safe to live. Now, bees are fortunate that you're able to provide them with lovely warm boxes, so they don't have to go off to trees and hide somewhere. But something that you can't do anything about is the forage, really, unless you plant acres of wildflowers. So the more hives you have in a single area, the more competition is for the same amount of forage. So, more competition means less honey overall. Now, what happens if you spread all those colonies amongst lots and lots of apiaries? So there's fewer and fewer per apiary, there's more forage per bee. Yeah, you'll start to get a lot more honey. But why doesn't this necessarily mean that you make a lot of money? Beekeeping equipment costs a ridiculous amount of money. This thing, 40 quid. That hive, around 250 quid. In fact, that's more because it's got another box on top of it. The costs add up. And a lot of the time, like all types of farming, because that's what you're doing. As soon as you become a beekeeper or you move to above 50 hives, you're slowly becoming a bee farmer. And bees are your livestock. And I don't know if you know this, but most farmers in the UK, they're quite poor. Land rich, property rich, physically poor. And that's because there's not actually any real money in farming. Sure, there's some famous beekeepers that are on YouTube and all the other social medias as well that are really successful. They've got thousands of followers and stuff like that, and they've got hundreds and thousands of hives, etc. But a lot of that money comes from social media. When you're farming, a lot of the money that you get, you have to reinvest into your colonies. Otherwise, things will start taking a downturn. I've been doing this now for about 5–6 years, and I haven't taken a wage. Every single pound that I've earned doing this has gone straight back into the business again. And it's a very fine line. Shoestring budget, that's what I keep using. That's what it is. Buying hundreds of hives is hard work. Really hard work, because you have to manage every single one of these colonies. Every single one of these colonies is going to have a different personality. And you're going to have to go through every single one and learn their personalities. You're going to have to try and figure out what's going on with them and try and fix any problems. Which is fine when nothing's going wrong, but when you've got 100 colonies and every single one of them is trying to swarm or something's going wrong, they need 100 more hives for equipment to put all the swarms in, or you need something else as well. So it's a very costly hobby. So 100 hives is not going to make you rich. There's a constant term that's stated amongst beekeepers and bee farmers. There's no money in honey. But I'd like to add something onto the end of that. There's no money in honey, but there is eternal joy. I love this hobby more than anything. Even on days that are absolutely disgusting like today. The trick to it is not to worry about the money. To just focus on the bees. To focus on the techniques. To focus on just the animal husbandry in general. That's how you get joy out of this hobby. That's how you get joy out of any hobby. As soon as you start thinking about the money, that's when everything starts going downhill. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.